Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, there should be sound now. So luckily you let me know that there was no sound, but also luckily I wasn't even talking. Not that I don't plan to talk, but you were not missing anything, at least at the moment. So hello to you in Atlantic Canada. I am just, as you can see, putting the line work in on this Archaeotheium mortoni. I started the sketch at the Natural History Museum, and I did take some photos, but I have not uploaded those photos onto my computer. So I am just searching for some photos that some other people have taken of that exact same skull and putting them on YouTube here. Uh-oh. The bitrate is below 23. We recommend OpenWidget. It should be rate of 4500 kbps. Well, I think I have to stop this and come right back. Can I change it midstream? Controls, settings, stream, output. Oh yeah, I gotta change this. Recommend 4500. Okay, that bitrate seems to be better. Yeah, so I am just filling in some line work here. You'll notice that my marker work here that I started off with is very clean. Not too many lines to it, not too rough. But it's when I go into the pen that I get a little bit more subtlety in like the bone structure here. Aiming for fairly slick lines most of the time, but I am okay if some of them get a little wobbly. Okay. I think I am going to end this and okay. This should be a better, should not get that same warning I was just getting. I'm just scrolling, looking for some details of the neck right there. Now just kind of repeating that pattern over and over again. Contour lines to define some surfaces. And so the fact that I could have looked at the reference, or that I did look at the reference in person, but now can look at some alternative references since I don't have mine available to me. To sort of fill in some details like a texture and whatnot. Is what I like about this style of sketching, because I'm not tied to copying, my reference 100% exactly. It's just reference, something that I am referring to and using, but not something that I am 100% dependent upon. It would help. Observation sketching. Hone your artistic skills by learning how to observe, sketch every object by Corey. I'll even not just check out that book. Let's check it out right now. Um, put it over here in this. Interesting. Do we have a preview here? Yeah, there's a little preview of this book. No, don't know my location. Okay, but it's not allowing me to check it. Well, I'll check it out later then, because I do want to see the preview inside of there. Corey, are you recommending that book because it was very helpful to you? And in what way was it helpful? And I asked that out of curiosity to see what is sort of resonating with people as they learn how to sketch. I got a bunch of repeated patterns here. Let's maybe do one right here. And for some clear understanding of it I say clear on my end, so I understand it. So then I can be a little bit faster with successive iterations here. And so I'm being quite loose with that bone structure as I keep going on with it. because while it looks kind of close up in detail, I can get farther away, and like those little lines I was doing, we can't really see them too much. So typically, right, when you're drawing in physical sketching, you can't zoom in like that. But digital, because it just kind of doesn't work the same way as a physical, that's why I zoom in with it to sort of simulate what happens when we zoom in with our eyes physically. And there's this other leg back there, right here. Higaki was a student of Peter Han. Yes, yes, but what was useful about that book for you? Is it that he maybe that Hikai went through Higaki Mariko? Is it that Mariko uh, went through kind of step by step on things? Was it did Mariko? I'm assuming a woman then. Is it that she like made it fun? What was fun about it? What made that experience learning in that book? Because learning from books is useful, right? Especially for like those people who have to be self-taught, because you don't have access maybe to an instructor, to have in person or directly, and whether that's a cost issue or just a time issue that's more flexible, learning from a book at your own pace. But I find it again really difficult um, to learn from a book as quickly as you learn from a person. I'm not opposing books. I'm just sort of, for me, recognizing that challenge. And then anyone who's able to overcome that challenge, whether it's from the book instructor who's doing such a great job of teaching with the book, or, as a learner, you're able to better understand with that book. I'm always curious about what that is that's working for people in those scenarios. That's me doing a little bit of my own research. So while you're here watching me sketch, maybe learning just a little bit about my process, I can learn about what helps any of you listening learn. Also, this is me in my morning, getting up, first thing I'm doing, getting some sketching done while I wait for my oatmeal to be ready. So once my oatmeal is ready, everybody, the stream will be over. Unless we make this one of those streams where you watch me eat food, and I don't think that's going to be exciting for people. Well, it must be exciting for some people, because there are some people who stream themselves eating food, and others watch it. But I don't think my audience of the few people that are here now are into that. I really should have offloaded the images from my camera uh, to my computer, so I could just be looking at my own references, because I know that I took some detailed images of this. But big shapes, focus on those, and I can't be too wrong. Right, so I'm mostly just working from the forms that I gave myself earlier with the marker work. Oh yes, close-up detail, I believe, of the spine section right here. Looks like this section of the spine could be good for inspiring some sort of like spaceship type form, possibly. And so that's another reason why I like studying nature here, is to inspire how I might do some physical products. Simplified sketch of the skull here. And trying to visualize the dimension of the forms that are on the page here. I'm not as interested or focused on, is another way to say it, the exact precise details. I'm focused on the larger forms. We can always come in here and add additional details later. All right, so that's all the line work for this thing. Well, the basic line work. So now it's like filling it in. Let's grab some images from my reference. All right. Found my reference here. I am looking on my camera and on the screen here. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? In the reference, we got a lot of light on this surface here. So let's focus on this area. Some I'm hatching to follow the form here. To save that shape. Catching some shadow. Even catching some shadow over here. Slowly kind of gradating out. Shadow just kind of in here, right? So just now it's a slow slog. It depends. If you're in a rush, it feels like a slog because hatching is really slow. But if you're like patient and like having fun with it, or you like attention to detail, then this is the fun part and not the other line work element. It's definitely nice in how it brings out dimension to the sketch. I really enjoy hatching because it's kind of like, I think, like carving. So we see like a shadow right here. It's kind of like carving clay and shaping this form in 3D, even though we're just looking at it in 2D. And you get to be very slow with it. If you start to do something like the equivalent of marker, then you gotta like plan for it. And there's of course nothing wrong with planning, but it does take like a bit more time. Well, it takes a bit more time before you actually put anything down on the page. So in hatching, I find almost like meditative in like that searching process you have that you're going along and doing this all at the same time. You start to put some little like textures on the bone, which is another thing that's really great about hatching, is when you have a very textured surface like a bone structure, right, that you can add those like little divots and scratches that they have on them. Where is that bone? Over there. That's this right here, right? So I got lost right here in the middle of this, and took me a moment to find my way back. And is this is a form in there, right? So that's another use for the hatching here, right? It's just bring out these forms, because when it's just the lines, you kind of get lost with what is negative space, what is positive space, what should be something that's actually filled in, and what's something that is just completely blank. All right, so really focus, right? That was a lot just in that one little area because we were so zoomed in on it, and like you can't really see too much detail. Let's go to the skull, because definitely have to fill out the book complements the teacher. Oh yes, yeah, no, it's if you can have a book that complements what you're teaching, that's great. But if you only have the book, that's where I'm saying like that books are a little difficult at times. Like all, at least for me, I read some books at certain times and like they were nice, but like I didn't quite get it, and then all of a sudden I took a class, and then like things just like made sense to me, like so much faster than just reading the book. So if there's a book that anyone feels like is working really well, even without the teacher like present, that is a very impressive book to me. Um, for at least the type of style of learning that I had when I was trying to draw or trying to learn to draw for the first time. Got something going on right here. I could probably sit down and figure out how to make some kind of digital tool that I can let this hatching go by just a little faster. It would take some time, like days, hours, weeks, as far as like testing and trying out. But the end result would be something that will allow me to go a lot faster digitally for the hatching. So it might be a worthwhile exploration. Putting that time making a tool that makes that process quicker. I think the hesitation about that is that I like my digital tools to match my physical ones as much as possible. So maybe only if I find a physical tool that does what I want the digital one to do, then I try and duplicate that tool into 3D, into digital. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. Ooh, I started my detail very, very small. And so this is going to take a lot of time. So start doing some like slightly larger strokes for larger surface areas here. And playing with the edge of the marker stroke there as like this guidance to put some of the hatching in the bone here. I can do a little bit more very subtle variation in the hatching compared to what is in the marker. Missed an indication for the nose in the front there. For some reason, in the reference that I'm looking at, these are all black. I don't know why they like, it's because if they're cast, right, but still, right, just trying to hint at that form of each tooth, right? The cross section, every single little curve I'm doing in there is like the cross section of the tooth. Just give that a little bit more dimension, a little bit more pop on the page than if I just did it completely flat. So for this one, we can see some hatching where it is actually kind of flat right there before becoming round. So that's what I like, again, about that hatching. Well, you just give a little bit of dimension to it. Being very rough with these teeth, it is probably not, again, too accurate to what they look like. But one of the things I can take is like we zoom out and like it's such a tiny piece. So remember, what level of detail are you doing and how much can someone see it? So this is a very small detail. We don't want to spend too much time with it. Speaking of time, what time is it now? 28 minutes. All right. My breakfast is just about ready then. So that's my motivation now to speed this up a little bit. Not speed it up and get lazy and make silly mistakes, because I've done that before. But just speed it up in terms of trying to finish this. Again, the main thing I think I want to do now is kind of connect the skull and the uh, shoulder blade right there by putting some details inside of the neck right here. The reference that I actually used had the neck kind of slightly turned differently than how I sketched it, because I didn't like the way the reference was in terms of its orientation for looking at it, and then the layout on my page. So we will be changing that up a lot in this. And this is kind of almost completely in shadow in the reference. A little bit of texture up here. I think that's no, something's missing in the jaw here. Like, it's just like one layer patching, kind of making like a little bit of a gradient. So let's spread that out just a little bit. Back side of the jaw over there. Flat hatch that out. So we're sure that it's reads. So yeah, I kind of didn't miss some of the teeth in here. I said that some of them have detail and not all of them do. Back with a slightly thicker line weight to pop some of these out, but they are sticking in front of the other ones. And not zooming in on it. Well, it is zoomed in, but not as much as before, because we saw what happens with that is I get caught up in small details, larger forms. Shoulder blade there. The leg right here. Probably end up maybe coming back and doing more of that later on. Just how much clearer these ribs are right now with these outlines around them. We won't do it to all of them, or else it might make it kind of look a little too flat. Just trying to harmonize and bring these areas that are close together, well, close together in how much they read on the page. This whole page is going to take a long time to finish, so I'll probably finish it up in another stream, but I really want to do some highlights right now. So let's grab the pencil and those. This is the fun part. So things start to pop out a lot more. softly at first in some areas, then start to press harder. Right, with the bone structure here. Sometimes coming in, right, giving a little texture versus just that soft gradient to it. And then because it's digital, we can push even harder. You get like a really bright white spot to make it pop. So let's make some areas here pop. Just a little bit more beyond what they might be actually doing physically, just for fun. I think that is it for this morning. This page is not done. I'm gonna have to come and revisit it. But thank you for joining, and hope you have a good day wherever you're at.